friends, how are you? I hope you all must be fit and fine. So today we are going to do an interesting chapter and discuss about it. The chapter is crop production and management. So as we all know that crops are very important to our living being and human survival, because as we will learn about that as we will study and discuss about this chapter. So we will discuss about so many things, and we will learn about so many things and get to know about different things that we don't know yet. So let's start. First, all living organisms need food to survive. As we all know, even you and me need food to survive. Food is obtained from plants and animals. The branch of science that deals with growing of plant and raising livestock for human use is called agriculture. So the basic thing is that the growing and raising of the world, that plants and animals, is known as agriculture, and the word agriculture is derived from two Latin words. Ager means field or land, and cultura means cultivation. So land cultivation is the basic motive of agriculture. Now let's see next. Agriculture is known as the world's largest industry. It began approximately 10,000 years ago. Before the agriculture, humans ate raw fruits, vegetables, and they killed animals for their food. You know what? Agriculture is the world's largest industry, if you don't know, and it began approximately 10,000 years ago. So many long time before. Before the agriculture, what do humans do? What do humans eat? What they ate for survival? Well, they ate raw fruits, vegetables, and they killed animals for their food. Small animals like deer, rabbits, and such things like that. They cultivate land and produce rice, wheat, and other food crops. This was the starting of crop production. Cultivate means to use an area of land properly. So, when we use an area or a land of anything which is able to produce crop, it's known as crop cultivation or agriculture. So, the land that is used to produce food is sometimes rice and wheat and other food crops which we need. This was the starting of the crop production. Humans now became farmers and get settled in the farming. They also started domesticating animals for their food and other purposes such as plowing, for carrying burdens, etc. As now humans became farmers, they found new ways for agriculture, and hence they started settling in farming, in producing farming, and in extending the branch of cultivation and growing crops. Now they also started domesticating animals for their food and other purposes such as plowing and carrying burdens. Like you have seen bulls like that for plowing. In the if we went through the chapter, then we will see some animals plowing the whole field, and you have seen donkeys carrying burdens, etc. Nowadays, approximately half of the world population is employed in growing crops. Nearly half of the world's population. Can you believe it? If the world's population is 7 billion, and if we do even the half of it, the 3.5 billion people are just employed in growing crops and looking after farm animals. In India, nearly 60 to 70% of the population is engaged in agriculture. You know what nearly 60 to 70% is? In 140 crores, there are 60 to 70% people engaged in agriculture. There is a lot people engaged because it's a easy, hence effective way of having profit and in someone's health. Like if there would not be any farmers, not any agriculture, you will not get any food for yourself. That's why nearly 60 to 70% of India's population is engaged in agriculture. Now, cultivation of crops and rearing of animals have undergone tremendous advancement during the last century 20. Increasing human population has been a contributing factor. In order to provide food for the increasing population, regular production, proper management, and distribution of food properly is very necessary. As we all know that cultivation of crops and rearing of animals has gone a very enormous advancement and very enormous changes during the last century until now. That's because it's of increasing human population. If the rate of cultivation and agriculture will be as slow as before in the past centuries, then the food will be not enough for the increasing population which is in our India and the whole world. And the increasing population is the reason that proper management and distribution of food is very necessary. Crop plants. Let's see what are crop plants. Farmers grow plants in their fields. When plants of the same kind are grown in a field on a large scale, they are called crop plants. Now let's learn about what are crop plants. When a plant of a same kind, like suppose wheat, there is a wheat growing on a very large field like this and this, so many enormous kind on a very large scale in feeding someone, not instead of feeding yourself but feeding someone for solding it out, and hence they are called crop plants. They are doing it for that's their work of earning money. They do farming for earning money, and hence the large scale when the plants are grown in a large scale, it's known as the crop plants. Now, for example, crop of wheat means that all plants grown in a field are of wheat, right? So wheat is the most important cereal in the world, like followed by paddy and maize. Wheat is like, the chapatis that we eat in our daily life mostly is made up of wheat, and it is commonly eaten in all parts of the world. After that, rice. After that, maize. Nowadays, many different kinds of crops are grown for food. Some common crop plants grown in India are here. Now, here are some crops and different kinds of crops and their examples as well. So let's see about them. In crops will contain cereals, pulses, oil seeds, root crops, fiber, tuber crops. There are all kinds of crops and they are all kinds of examples of the crop. Now, if you see that cereals, as we have studied, wheat, paddy, maize, barley, they are the most common cereals found in the world. Pulses will contain pea, beans, gram, mustard. Oil seeds will contain groundnuts, sunflower. You have seen sunflower oil, or maybe must have eaten as well, and soybean oil. Root crop will be sweet potato and carrot. Fiber crop will be jute and cotton. because you wear cotton clothes mostly in summer. Tuber crops will be potato and onion. These are all different kinds of crops and their examples. What are the crops known? Now, crop plants on the basis of seasons in which they grow. Like crop plants are classified into two main crops grown in India. They are called kharif crops and rabi crops. So first let's learn about rabi crops. These are grown in the winter season, generally in the months of October to November, and are harvested by March or April. Therefore, they are called the winter crops because they are sown in the month of October to December. And examples of rabi crops are wheat, barley, gram, mustard, and potato. And these are the of different kinds. Like some will be cereals, some will be pulses, and some will be tuber crops. Right? All of these crops and many more are grown in the season, are sown in the season of winter, therefore are known as rabi crops. And some crops are grown in the beginning of rainy season, like in the month of June or July, and harvested by September or October. These are known as summer crops because they are grown in the summer months, June or July. Hence, they are known as kharif crops. They require a lot of water. That's why they are grown in season of rainy seasons like June or July, because they are the seasons in which the rains happen mostly. They require so much water to grow, and some common examples of kharif crops will be paddy, maize, soybean, groundnut, jowar, cotton, and pulses. Now here are some methods of crop production. There are some basic practices. Nowadays, agriculture is mainly carried out by a scientific and systematic way for healthy growth and better yield of crops. Why it's carried in such a scientific and systematic way? The same reason, growing population. If it was doing manually like it was done before, then it will not be the same as for growing population. It will not be able to feed the growing population. To grow crops, farmers perform several activities over a long period of time, like preparing the soil bed, sowing of seeds, watering the field, providing fertilizers, and protecting against pests. Then the crops are harvested and stored. The step-by-step activities are called agriculture practices. Thus, agriculture practices can be defined as various activities that a farmer performs to produce a good crop. What are the agriculture practices? Agricultural practices are the step-by-step activities. Here you can see they are the step-by-step activities are called agricultural practices that are done during growing crops. And the practices are some of like preparing soil bed, sowing seeds, watering field, providing fertilizers, and protecting against pests. Now let's see some basic agriculture practices. Here are some of them which we are going to learn today. Preparation of soil, like plowing and leveling and all of them. Plowing is also known as tilting, as we will see what is plowing, and leveling as well. Plowing and leveling are very important parts of a preparation of soil. Now the next is selection of good quality seeds and sowing of seeds. For selecting good quality seeds, the farmer which is growing the crop must know which season is this and which crop do they have to grow in based on the soil type and the season and all of that, atmospheric condition, everything. And hence they select the good quality seeds and then sow the seeds. In the selection of good quality, the following process or the following agriculture practice is sowing. Now next is application of manures and fertilization. For application of manures and fertilization is like fertilizing the field, so it will known as fertilizing. In this process you have to just spread the fertilizer into the field. Next process is irrigation, which is simply watering the field, watering, giving water to the plants or the seeds itself. Weeding is the process like removing the the unwanted grass from the plants which you are growing. Removing the especially it's unwanted because you don't want the grass to come in your field, because they will steal the nutrients and water that you need to grow for your plant, for your crop plant. But the other the other weeds, unwanted weeds, will take it. Protection against pests and diseases, like spray, removing pests, like that you have to spray the things which are needed to remove the pest according to your crop. Now after that you have to harvest and store the crop in a proper atmosphere so that the crop doesn't rot. Now that's the all basic agriculture practices. Now let's learn about them slowly and a bit deeply. While as we all know, so many numbers of tools are required during the course of the agriculture practices. These tools are called implements, and hence they are known as agricultural implements. Like there are some methods of agricultural implements and the tools that are used to do that. So as we know that the soil preparation, we knew that for soil preparation the basic steps are plowing and leveling, so iron plows and levelers. For sowing, seed drills or manually, you can sow the seeds manually by hand, and there is seed drilling machine as well which sows your seed properly. After that, manuring, it's usually done manually by spreading it through hands. Irrigation by sprinklers and tube wells. Sprinklers are the things here, and they have a nozzle like this, and they rotate in a direction continuously and spread water on the crops that are beneath them. Weeding, as we all know, that removing of unwanted weeds, harrow and trowel are used. Crop protection, addition of pesticides for removing of pests. Harvesting, we use sickle or combines. Sickle is a thing like this, and there is a handle attached so that you don't cut your hand. And threshing is the threshers and combiners. And for storage, we use jute bags, wooden, clay, metals, containers, and silos are the things in which some crops are kept. Now, preparation of soil. Plants are grown in soil, as we all know before, because it's a very common thing. They obtain water and nutrition from the soil through their roots. Soil anchors the plant or the roots of the plant, and it provides the microbes and the other organisms such as earthworms to help increase the soil fertility in which the crops are grown, and therefore it's very important for the soil is well prepared. and as we all know, it requires two steps: plowing and tilting. Plowing is also known as tilting and leveling. So let's first learn about and discuss about what is plowing. So the process of loosening and turning of the soil is called plowing and or tilting. This has some following advantages. Like, loose soil contains a lot of air spaces in it. This allows the roots to breathe easily, because you have seen loose soil are very easy to compress because they are very loose, and it's easy to compress because it has very air in it, and hence air is compressible. Loose soil is also easy to compress, and to the roots of the plants of the baby plant are very soft and they cannot get through hard soil. That's why the farmers loosen the soil for the air spaces to become, and this allows for the roots to spread easily and breathe easily. Loose soil also allows roots to penetrate deep into the soil. Thus, the plants get fixed into the soil firmly, so that if the wind blows in a very fast, like a storm-like thing, then the plant will not get detached from the soil. Plowing also uproots the undesirable plants and like weeds and kills them. Like, if you plow the field, the weeds that are sown deep into the soil, unwanted weeds, will come out, hence you will plow the soil. Loose soil mixes uniformly with manure and fertilizers, and it also allows the growth of earthworms, because earthworms are very soft structure and prefer in living in soft soils, and earthworms help to loosen the soil more and adding humus, which is a dead organic matter, to the soil. Hence, they are known as the friends of the farmers. Now, let's recall everything that we have learned. We have learned that nearly 60 to 70% of India population is engaged in agriculture, and after that we learned about what are crop plants and what are the different kinds of crops and their examples. After that we have learned what are the two classifications of crops: Kharif crops and Rabi crops. And Rabi crops are the winter crops, example wheat, barley, gram, mustard and potato. Kharif crops are the summer crops, example rice, maize, soybean, groundnut and cotton. We also learned about the methods of crop production, which are known as agricultural practices, which are the following over here, and we have known the implements which are used for agriculture basically, and how to prepare the soil, though the first step is plowing. That's all we learned today in the crop production and management chapter 1. Now the rest of it we will do in the next part. If you understood the video completely, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Bye.